everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media, and you guys are on the action cam, so you know what that means. It's time for a vlog, and today I am kicking off my 13 days of Halloween vlog, and I guess you can call this an annual vlog now because this is my second year in a row doing this, but unlike last year where I had at least half of it planned out, I did all the John Carpenter films I hadn't seen yet, all the John Carpenter horror films I hadn't seen yet. This year is going to be completely random, and I'll be honest, I'm actually filming this at the end of all the other filming, so I know exactly what I've watched, but I'm not going to talk about it. You guys will see as we go through it, but you're going to see just completely random horror films. There's a full series in here that I love that we watched through again. There are streaming picks, physical media picks, 4K, DVD, Blu-ray. Really, it was just all over the gamut. So I know this is going to be a really long one, and frankly, what you're about to watch is just 13 lazy reviews of horror films. So I know this won't be for everybody, but if you do enjoy my reviews, hopefully you'll stick around for this one. But if not, I totally respect that as well, because this is a big time commitment, I'm sure, by the time I get this all edited together. But anyway, let's not add more time needlessly. Let's get into it. Before we do that, though, if you do have a quick second, go and hit that like button down below. That engagement really does help me out. Even if you're not sticking around for the whole thing, hit the like anyway. It just does. It does help me out. But with that said, let's not waste any more time at all. Let's dive right in to my 13 days of Halloween, the 2023 edition. All right, so this is a situation where you guys watching have a much better understanding of what's happening than I do as I'm filming right now, because I'm kind of just winging it. In my head, I thought, you know what? Let's try to do the 13 days of Halloween, and I can release that on Halloween Day. So the first one, actually, my wife picked. She said she wanted to watch the Scream franchise. Not that you can see that at all, but I have them first two on 4K right now. Scream 3 is hitting 4K later this month in October. So I figured, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's watch the Scream franchise. So we're going to watch this for the first time in 4K. So I'm looking forward to checking this out. I do have the steelbook of this. So yeah, I'm excited. I love the Scream movies. I've seen them more times than I can possibly count. So not sure that I'll have any differing opinions this time through. But hey, I'll give you guys my thoughts on the 4K transfer, if nothing else. So let's go check out Scream on 4K. Well, you know it wouldn't be a vlog of mine if I wasn't in the basement way too much. But anyway, I just finished Scream on 4K, and let me tell you how disappointed I am at myself. So basically, when it comes to releases, I always check the back of it to see if there's a Dolby Vision logo on the back. And if so, I go into my settings because I have this stupid 4K player that you have to actually turn on or off the Dolby Vision depending on what disc you're watching. If you turn it on when there's no Dolby Vision, it just messes up the color. And then if you have it off, it only is going to use the HDR10 color grading. Well, there's no Dolby Vision listed on the back of this anywhere, including on the disc itself. So I thought, oh, I guess this one doesn't have Dolby Vision on it. Nope, that's wrong. It did. And after I watched the movie, I then realized, after looking at a review and checking Blu-ray.com, that it does, in fact, have Dolby Vision color grading. So I watched this one in HDR10. I did go back and check out some of the picture quality with the Dolby Vision. I definitely should have watched it with Dolby Vision. It did look notably nicer, just like some of the way the colors were handled looked a little bit better. But either way, I thought this picture quality was fine. Honestly, though, I wasn't super impressed with the visual quality on this one. I thought it looked good, but nothing about it really wowed me. But I was thinking to myself, while I don't see that, like my first time through, I don't see a lot of film grain, but I don't see a lot of like waxiness either. So I don't think there was like DNR being done, which there wasn't. The picture was totally fine. It's just like I didn't notice it, I guess, as I was watching through it. But I don't know. It was fine. Like nothing about it really blew me away. It's been years since I've watched the Blu-ray version of it, so I can't really compare the two, but I think the picture quality is fine. The audio I thought sounded great. This one is a 5.1 track, not an Atmos track, but I thought that sounded totally fine for what they were trying to do. Talking about the film itself, so first off, this steelbook is gorgeous. I took the J card off so you could see it a little bit better, but I really like the steel. I think it looks really nice. On the inside, let me open it up here. You can see on the inside you have Drew Barrymore's character with a little picture on the disc. So yeah, well done in terms of the actual steelbook itself. So that was cool. But the movie, I mean, like, this is a great film. I love this ever since the first time I saw it, and I love it even more every time I watch it. And I've seen this movie so many times now, but I think it's just one of the best that you can watch, in my opinion. This really started the 90s slasher renaissance again. The first Scream movie I saw in theaters was Scream 3, which that came out in 2000, so I would have been 13, 14 at the time. And so, like, I love the movies from this era. We get, you know, Urban Legend comes out in this era, Halloween H2O, which I just talked about earlier today. There's so many really good ones in here to talk about. You know, we get Bride of Chucky as well, part of that late 90s renaissance of the slasher era. So I love this one. Like, the acting is great across the board. The reveal at the end, I think, is done so well. That's frankly the funniest part of the film to me. I was laughing a ton tonight while I was watching it because just some of the lines they use, the way the interactions are done with the killer, like, it's great. And I'm intentionally not trying to give any spoilers. So if you haven't seen it for whatever reason, like, you have to. It's amazing. It's a wonderful horror movie. It's a wonderful film, period. I really don't have any flaws with this movie. Like, this is and will always be a masterpiece to me. This is 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Like, this movie is awesome, and the sequel, arguably as good, or pretty darn close to it. I love the whole Scream franchise, though. So yeah, looking forward to watching Scream 2. Not sure exactly when we're going to do that, but I need to watch that one so we can get to Scream 3 when that one hits 4K in the coming days here. But I mean, this is a great horror film, one of my all-time favorites. So I feel no shame giving Scream from 1996 5 out of 5 stars. So now I'm going to go watch some football. It's Sunday Night Football, and go from there. So I'm 2 in, and it's only October 1st, so doing pretty well. Now, I say 2 in. I've watched 2 horror movies in October now. Low-key, I would love to get 30 done this month. I just don't think that's not realistic for me with everything else going on. But at least we're 1 of 13 in for this vlog. So no clue where I'm going next, but you guys will know very shortly. All right, so one last check-in here. I didn't check in before the movie, but the football game just wasn't as interesting to me tonight as I was hoping it was going to be. So there was a movie that I saw the trailer for a couple days ago, and like, I absolutely needed to see this movie. This is the Hulu film, No One Will Save You, and it stars Caitlin Dever, who I've seen in Last Man Standing. That's where I've seen her from. But I was so excited for this. It looked like because I watched about 30 seconds of the trailer, figured, yep, I'm going to love that, and turned off the trailer because I wanted to watch the movie. It looked like a home invasion film with aliens. Like, I love that. That's awesome. The idea is amazing. And so I watched it, and hopefully this will be the worst movie I watch this month, because this movie was terrible. I am so disappointed. I mean, this will probably go down as the biggest disappointment of the year, just given how cool the premise is and what they could have done with it. But instead, you get this like indie film feeling, kind of pretentious garbage. This was just so bad. And it kills me because there are moments in this movie where it's genuinely creepy. Like, I love the alien moments in this that are creepy, but everything else around it doesn't, like, those moments don't make up for everything else around it, which is so utterly ridiculous and stupid. So basically, we're following our main character. She doesn't talk for some reason, which is never explained throughout the film, which I just don't understand at all. Like, when I'm by myself, which I'm by myself a lot during the day, like, I talk out loud relatively often. And especially in some of the situations that this character was put in, she would absolutely be talking. I don't know. It just bothered me so much that she never like spoke any words throughout this film. So it was a very strange choice that frankly I didn't think it worked at all. But we are following her one night, and there is somebody in her house. She doesn't know what it is. Well, it turns out it's an alien. And so it becomes like a home invasion film, but with aliens. So it's an alien invasion film, I guess. But it's so crazy. And so this thing happens. She wakes up the next morning and she's dealing with this thing. Something happened with her best friend. I picked up right away that like she must have done something to her because of the way things were going on. And so she goes into town, and even though this alien just came in and attacked her in her home, and it's like in her house right now, she can't get over her anxiety that she has and like the bad feelings, the bad issue that happened prior. She can't get over that in order to like bring the police in. It made no utter sense to me whatsoever. And it was just so frustrating to watch. I hated this. It was the most selfish main character. I didn't care about her at all because she never said a single word throughout the entire, well, that's not true. She did say a couple words, but like nothing really other than 3 words that she said. It was just, I don't know what they were going for here. They were trying to do something. They were trying to make it meaningful, but it just reeked of indie film pretentiousness that, frankly, I have not seen in quite a while. I thought this was just so bad, and it kills me because there were genuine moments of really creepy stuff in this. Like with the alien things, it reminded me of Signs at points. It's very clear the director is a big alien invasion film fan, and lots of homages to some of those films. But like, oh, God, this was just so bad. I am so disappointed with this film. I'm shocked. It has like a 3.1 on Letterboxd right now. And I don't get it. I thought this was so bad. So anyway, I'm going to be done ranting. I'm going to go to bed because I'm really tired. But I'm going to give No One Will Save You from 2023 1 out of 5 stars. That movie just sucked. It amazes me how just awesome I can manage to look for these vlogs. Whatever. Anyway, it's late. We just finished watching the sequel, Scream 2, on 4K. And yeah, this is an enjoyable film as well. So this one, I feel like it's not quite as good as the original, but it does a lot right. Oh, and I'm filming right next to my air conditioning unit, which is super loud right now, so I apologize if the audio is crap. But anyway, Scream 2, good movie. We pick up, of course, Sydney's in college. The opening murder scene is fantastic, like such a iconic scene again. Not as much as the original's opening scene, but man, it's still great. I love that opener. It's so cool. It's got a little bit nonsensical the way everything plays out, but I love it. And so that's always fun. The rest of the movie, I think, is really well done as well. Why do I think it's not quite as good? It doesn't have as many of the one-liners that are memorable to me. I do love that moment though in the film class when they're going back and forth talking about like the sequels that are better, which I didn't agree with any of the sequels being better than the ones they listed, but that's just me. That's a great scene, but I feel like it's just missing some of the, I don't know, uniqueness, some of the originality of the original, obviously, because it's a sequel. But I do love that it feels a little bit gorier. That scene with whatever it is, steel beam going through someone's head, that is brutal. The aftermath of that is great. I love and that's something else I noticed this time through, is the ending in the theater when Sydney is chopping down things to make them fall on the bad guy. They're messing with the lights in the theater, and like they have the lightning going and the thunderboard is going off. Oh, and it stopped, so that's good. Hopefully the sound improved a little bit. But anyway, I love that moment. It actually reminded me a little bit of Frankenstein for some reason this time through. I thought that was kind of interesting because I don't remember ever feeling that in the past, but it really had Frankenstein vibes for me, just the way it was filmed too. And there was some more of that oblique shot that Craven likes in the Scream franchise. Not nearly as much though, as there is in the first film. And probably, by choice, but I thought that was interesting. But I did notice it, especially in those sequences at the end, I'd noticed that. But yeah, it's a good movie. It's just, it doesn't have that kind of, it's not quite the masterpiece that the original is. And I guess I don't know really how to articulate why. It's just kind of the gut reaction I have to it every time I watch it. Like, really good film, great slasher film. I love the progression of the characters. You really get Dewey's music in this. I'm not going to do it like the dum 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 dum. Like it's great. That really kind of establishes itself in this film. And then of course we'll get it as the franchise goes on. That is just our notes that denote that Dewey is on the screen. And I love that. It's so great. So yeah, this is a really good movie. I really enjoyed this one. And this steelbook is awesome. I love how this thing looks. I don't know if you'll get all the details on it, but I think it looked great. And then on the back, we have the very, very famous line there. Hello, Sydney, remember me. So yeah, I think it's great. And just the color scheme on that is beautiful. I love this steelbook. I think this is significantly nicer than the original steelbook. But yeah, so Scream 2 is in the books. Scream 3, I kept saying like when it comes out weeks from now. No, it came out as I'm filming this yesterday. And so I have it sitting over there. So we are going to watch that one tomorrow, the next day, sometime soon here. So you'll have my thoughts on that on 4K soon. I'm not sure if we'll continue. Obviously, if we go to Scream 4, we'll have to do the Blu-ray. So we'll see. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, I don't have it. I started a book, but I'll talk about that another time just because I don't have the book with me right now. And I just realized that I never even gave the movie a star rating. So I am going to give Scream 2 from 1997. I'm going to give this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. I mean, this is a phenomenal movie. I love it. It's just not quite the 5-star film that the original is. So yeah, great film. Very happy that I was able to revisit it this Halloween. All right, so I've moved from the basement up to my bedroom upstairs. So just a little bit of change of scenery here. But anyway, we have now finished Scream 3. So we are done with the original trilogy. This is the steelbook that was just released a few days ago as of recording. And another 4K transfer that I thought looked really good. I think this one, like the first one didn't wow me at all, but I think the second one and the third one were, I noticed the picture quality being a lot better on those. And so I think they did a great job with the transfer on all 3 of these, frankly. But yeah, the film itself, like I really enjoyed it this time through. I think I've talked about it before, but I didn't love this when it first came out. When I saw it in theaters, I was only 14. I wasn't getting it. But since then, I've really enjoyed this every time through. And I think I probably liked this one more this time through. Just on this viewing, I may have liked this one more than Scream 2. That's not saying that Scream 3 is a better movie than Scream 2, because it's not. But I had a really good time with this one, and I didn't have to pause it as much either, so that was always a good thing too. But yeah, this is a really good movie, and there are special features on here. I watched the alternate ending, which was not very good, but yeah, great movie. Of course, we are, following our group of people. Once again, they're in California this time, going to be in Hollywood for the majority of the movie. And we find out this whole new backstory about Sid's mother from when she was much younger. And then when like the reveal happens at the end of the film, it unveils even more, which is just so crazy. But it's just a fun movie. And really, for me, the standout is Parker Posey. I think Parker Posey is absolutely brilliant in everything I've seen her in, but especially in this. I love her here. She is just so funny. She, of course, plays like Gale Weathers in Stab 3. And I think she played her in Stab and Stab 2 also. And just the way she interacts with Gale is absolutely hilarious. Like, I love that character so much. She really makes it for me. So I think this is just a really fun movie. Freaking Jay and Silent Bob make a cameo in this. Roger Corman makes a cameo in this. Lance Henriksen is, of course, in this. Like, just a really great cast. And I love seeing all those different cameos in there. That was just so much fun. So I thoroughly enjoyed it this time through. I still will probably give Scream 3... I'll probably give it 4 out of 5 stars. I recognize it's not as good a film as Scream 2, but I just enjoyed it this time through a little bit more than I think I did Scream 2 last night. So there was something else I was going to talk about yesterday, so I'll talk about it now while I have you, because I'm also reading a book right now. I'm reading Autumncrow High, Fresh Hell by Cameron Chaney. I talked about this in my most recent book haul. This is a brand new release, came out just a handful of, maybe a couple of weeks ago now. And so I wanted to read it. I'm about 50-ish pages in, I think like 46 pages in right now. And I'm enjoying it. Cameron's a great author. He did a short story collection called Autumncrow last year, 2 years ago. I read it last year. I guess I don't know when it came out. But That was great. And so this takes place in the same city, Autumncrow Valley. And yeah, it's really interesting so far. Basically, we're following this main character. I think it takes place in like the early 90s, given the fashion choices that are talked about, but it never really says, but that's where I'm thinking it takes place. But basically, it opens up with our main character. She's 17. She's about to be, she starts her first day of senior year at Autumncrow High, and she's having these nightmares of this like boy, basically, that is kind of, he looks not skeleton-y, but looks similar to the cover there in terms of what he's wearing, that jacket. And she keeps having these nightmares, and it's like really affecting her. Well, first day of school, she's at the coffee shop, and who shows up? But it's the boy from her nightmare. So very intrigued on where it's going to go. And it's interesting because the main character is dealing with the loss of her father that happened, sounds like relatively recently. And ironically enough, when I was filming this vlog, the 13 Days of Halloween vlog in 2022, I was dealing with my father having an accident, which I talked about in length on the channel, which no one really cares at this point. But and then we ended up, losing my dad in November of last year. And so very relatable in terms of that, which is just very strange. It's kind of an odd, I don't know, an odd circle of life moment there, I guess. But yeah, anyway, so really enjoying it. Hopefully I'll get through it by the end of the month. I would love to do like a standalone review of it if I can, just to help, give some more publicity to the book and help support Cameron Chaney, because I think he's awesome as an author and a great booktuber as well. So if you don't follow his channel, definitely recommend it. So many awesome book hauls on there. But anyway, so I just wanted to point that out. I watched a non-horror movie today because I got the Mill Creek releases in. So I watched Waist Deep. That was interesting. Check out my Mill Creek unboxing and review video for my thoughts on that one. I'll have to watch a few episodes of He-Man just to finish up that video. I did a Psycho unboxing. All of these should already be live here on the channel, so check those out if you're interested. But yeah, it's been a eventful day. It's been a, what's the word I'm trying to think of? I can't think of the term, but it's been a good day in terms of getting work done. But productive, that is the term, productive. It's been a productive day. But anyway, let's see what tomorrow brings now, because I'm going to go watch some football. All right, so this is going to be a little bit different, but I figured I would share this with you guys because over the past couple of months, I've been really trying to focus in on selling some things on eBay to really help fund the hobby. And so that's what I've been doing. All of the movies I've decided I don't need, that I'm never going to watch, duplicates, when I upgrade, things like that, I've been selling on eBay if they're worth a certain amount. So like, for example, I have this one here, Don't Look in the Basement 2. I actually got this in a horror pack unboxing many years ago now, and I put it on the other day, and it's just, I'm not going to watch it at all. So I decided I don't need this one. And so what I'm about to do is take some pictures of this and some other Blu-rays that I'm going to get rid of. This is was all filled with like tools and stuff that I never touch because I just don't do that. And so I cleaned this off a couple weeks ago when I was off and decided to use like this whole space as my eBay space. And so I went to the Dollar Tree, grabbed a foam board to use as the backboard. They only had one, so then I grabbed some white poster board. And so I used this area to take pictures of the movies. I'll take a picture of the front of the movie, the back of the movie, and then I'll open it up to show the disc as well. This shelf right here is just filled with everything that is currently listed or scheduled to be listed on eBay. So tons of stuff that I'm just getting rid of. Obviously, old DVDs that I don't want, some old VHS that I decided I don't need, books in the back here, a bunch of plays. I was a theater major, so I had just boxes of plays that I just don't need anymore. Theater books back there as well. Just kind of random stuff in various areas here. This over here, this is not going on eBay. These are the books I'm keeping. This is basically the last 2 years worth of book hauls that I've showed you guys. They just haven't made it into where they're supposed to live. Yeah, so this is a way I'm trying to fund the hobby, right? Obviously, I do YouTube, I'm monetized, I make very little bit of money there, and then eBay on top of it. So all these different things help fund the new releases I'm able to pick up. I know not everyone likes things like this, like flipping material like that, but the vast majority, in fact, frankly, 99% of what you're seeing on these shelves here were things from my personal collection that I've decided I just don't need anymore. So I'm selling them. So yeah, I know that's might be controversial, might make some people angry, but we all have to fund our hobbies the best way that we can. And so yeah, just, you know, the more I can make through eBay and YouTube, then the more I can help fund the items that are new and coming into the collection that I really want in there. So yeah, that I figured I would share with you. But now let's talk a little bit about Scream 4. Anyway, before I start talking about Scream 4, I didn't even mention, this is my Friday the 13th hat that I just picked up from Spirit Halloween like a week or a week and a half ago. I didn't mention it on the first clip I was wearing it, so I wanted to mention it here. It's an awesome hat. It was a really good price too, only like 20 bucks, which is cool. But anyway, Scream 4, I think, is awesome. I love this movie. So I remember my buddy in grad school, him and I were big fans of the Scream franchise, and so we were super hyped when the movie was coming out. Went to the theater to see it, absolutely loved it. Me, him, and a couple of my friends, and of course my now wife, we loved it. And I've loved it every time since as well. Like, I think it's just such a good film. I think it's my favorite film in the franchise after the first one. I have to rewatch 5 and 6 still, but I really love this movie. So I think why I like it so much is that because I think it's the funniest film in the franchise, even probably funnier than the first one, frankly. There are so many great one-liners in this, so many references. It just makes me laugh more than the rest of the films have. Scream 1, 2, and 3, I was laughing a lot in like the final sequences, but this one, it was kind of throughout the entire film. I thought that aspect of it was really cool. And then on top of that, not only is it the funniest, but I think it's the most brutal of the franchise as well. That scene where it's the murder of like one of the friends at the house next door, that is the most brutal scene in the franchise. Like, it is intense and I love it. It is so well done. Just the sheer amount of bloodshed is utterly insane. It is so awesome. It is such a great scene. So one of my favorite kills from the franchise, has probably my favorite character in the franchise, Hayden Panettiere's character, Kirby. I love her in this. She's awesome. And so like, I don't know, I really like this film a lot. So I'm going to give Scream 4, what did this come out? 2011, I think. I'm going to give this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, my second favorite film in the franchise so far. We'll talk about 5 and 6 as we get to them. But now I got to go watch the Lions game. Hoping to go 4-1 today. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. But anyway, we'll check back in when I get to Scream 5. Or if I watch a different movie between then, of course, I'll check in then. All right, so I was wrong. Scream 4. Okay, welcome back. So, I was wrong. Scream 4 is not the most brutal film in the franchise. I totally just like forgot how insanely brutal Scream 5 was, or Scream 2022. So, I really like this movie. I think this is, I still think Scream 4 is probably my favorite sequel, but man, they just do this one so well. I really enjoy it. Yes, I know one of the complaints of this one was Billy Loomis's character kind of coming back as a ghost or as a vision, whatever you want to call it. I know people really complained about that, but I totally forgot. If you watch Scream 3, there's kind of a precedent set for that because Sydney has premonitions or visions of her mother at points in that film. Now, yes, some of those moments are the killer doing his thing, but others it's not, at least in my opinion. And so I feel like there's a precedent set for that. I keep saying sent, but you know what I mean. There's a precedent for that I didn't realize when I was watching it the first time. I didn't have a problem with the first time. I have even less of a problem with it this time. This is an awesome movie. There's a death in here. Obviously, I'm trying not to give any spoilers, but minor spoiler, I guess. I'll say a legacy character's death in this movie affected me again in such a strong way. It's hard to like hold back the tears at that moment, especially right now because I've been watching through the movies back to back to back like this. So I love these characters, and I think this one does it. It's so much fun. I still think Scream 4 is the funniest film in the franchise, but this one is absolutely more brutal than Scream 4. If Scream 4 was like an 8 out of 10, this is a 10 out of 10. And Scream 6 might take it up to 11. Frankly, I just don't remember. I watched that one, earlier this year, I guess, but I don't recall if that one was more brutal than this. But yeah, I mean, this is a great requel, as they call it, right? A reboot sequel. I love kind of the rules and how they've evolved into this. And frankly, like, if you really think about it, Scream 4 was doing this exact same thing in terms of a requel. I think they call it in Scream 4, they say the word Screamquel or something, or Screamake or something like that, where it's essentially that. It's a reboot, a remake rather, but a sequel at the same time. This, I would argue, probably takes it a step further, which I think some people probably felt it needed. What I also liked about this is that it didn't feel like Wes Craven wasn't behind the camera, because you get a lot of those same like musical beats and you get those same oblique shots all the time. I think they're fantastic. You get like a push-pull at the beginning with Jenna Ortega's character, which is always fun to watch, that famous Jaws shot. But what I really like and what I feel like is a staple of the Scream series, what Wes Craven put in is that oblique shot, and using that camera style, kind of that oblique shot that kind of spins a little bit too. I think it's just done so cool. And they brought that back in with this one. So it really felt like a Scream movie to me. It didn't feel like, you know, someone trying to be Wes Craven. It really felt true to its roots. So I really enjoyed that about it. I mean, I will say, like, with all of these, the way the killers plan to get away with these things is so utterly ridiculous. Like, it would never work in any of these movies. None of this would ever work once you bring in like forensics and just police officers and investigators who actually know what they're doing. So I can let that go because it's not really what it's about. But yeah, so this is just, it's done so well. And I've watched it twice now. It's only my second time through, but I think it worked really well in a rewatch. Really enjoyed it. My wife totally forgot like who the killer was in this one. I did remember. There were definitely some moments I forgot about, some kills I forgot about, but boy, they're brutal and they are just right in your face. A knife going through a neck at one point. It is just crazy. Yeah, very happy I revisited this. I don't know if I thought I'd like it as much on the second time through, but I did. I'm giving Scream from 2022 4.5 out of 5 stars. Love this movie. And this is another one. The picture quality on this looked excellent as well, as you would expect. I did see film grain on this. Now, I have no idea if this was actually shot on film or not. It could have just been added post, and frankly, it probably wasn't, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, I definitely noticed some film grain, whether it was actual genuine film grain or just post. I don't know or care. It looked really good either way. So highly recommend this 4K. But yeah, now I just picked up Scream 6. A couple weeks ago, last week, whenever it was, recently, it was on sale at Target for like $25, so I grabbed it. So that's how we're going to watch that one. So let's get over to that next. All right, time for another terribly lit segment here. So the Scream franchise is officially complete. We rewatched Scream 6 tonight. And I love this one too. I didn't look. I guess I should have looked what I gave Scream 6 the first time I watched it, which maybe I'll pull up as I'm talking here. But yeah, I think this is a really well done Scream movie. I didn't really catch the first time through just how much this one is Scream 2. Like, there are so many things. And what kills me is they talk about it like throughout the entire film too. And so I don't know how I missed it. I apologize if you're shaking. I'm moving the table, but they talk about it a ton as the movie's going on, but I didn't make the connections. I guess it had been long enough since I'd seen Scream 2 that I just wasn't really connecting the dots. But yeah, very much Scream 2, just like Scream 5 is the original. This is Scream 2. So very intrigued if Scream 7 is going to be Scream 3. I feel like it won't be though, because it would have to be, I don't know. I just feel like it would be kind of odd to do that again. I don't know, but maybe they will and they'll make it interesting. I don't know. But from top to bottom, this is probably the best horror franchise out there, just in terms of the quality of the films. The lowest rated film in this franchise for me is 4 stars, and that's Scream 3. And I love Scream 3. But when it comes, if you just watch these in order, you compare it to something like Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, like all of those have kind of low points in it. You know, I enjoy frankly, I enjoy all of the Halloween movies, but I understand that like Halloween Resurrection, for example, is not a great movie. 4 and 5 isn't great. I really like them, but they're not great films. Whereas something like this, the Scream franchise, literally from start to finish, these are all great movies. And they tell one story. They're progressing along. There's no redux going on here where they just completely throw away all of the movies like the Halloween franchise has done. So to me, I mean, Scream has to be the best franchise out there. And this is just another great outing in that franchise. So I love this one. It is just as brutal as Scream 5, I would say. But I still think Scream 5 takes the cake for brutality. Just again, like the stabbing sequences really get me. And they have that in this one as well. But it was just, it felt unique. It felt new, I guess, in Scream 5 when I watched that yesterday versus it's like, okay, we're just kind of doing more of the same with Scream 6. But that said, there are a lot of firsts in this one. I think this is the first time we get, I guess this is a minor spoiler, but we get like a double ghost face on screen at once for the first time, at least that I can recall. Gail talking on the phone to the killer for the first time. There's a number of things that they do for the first time. Also, for the first time, this doesn't feel like a Wes Craven Scream film. Those oblique shots are missing. And frankly, a lot of the musical cues are missing as well. They're not missing, they're there, but they're used so sparingly that it almost feels like they're missing. But I love the new setting on this, going into the city. Oh man, the 4K with this city setting, it's perfect. It looks so amazing. I loved it. So yeah, definitely recommend the 4K on this. The Dolby Vision color grade looked phenomenal, which is what you would expect with a new film like this. But it looked great. No flaws that I was able to notice. I love the story, how it's ridiculous, but all of these are. And that's what my wife was like talking about. She's like, so you're telling me that this character who is this size is able to take down this other character who's this giant size. There are just some things with this franchise that you just got to be willing to go with. Just that suspension of disbelief. Number one, the character sizes. There's no way the killer is going to take down the person they're taking down in real life. It's just not going to happen. Is it possible? Sure. Is it likely? No, not at all. And then the other thing is with people talking on the phone inches away or a foot or two away from our main character. They just don't hear them. It's just the things you have to just be willing to go with in order to enjoy this franchise. And I absolutely am because it's a favorite of mine. So this is a great movie. In terms of the opening sequences, the first one is always going to be the best, but this is probably my favorite of the sequels. I love the opening in this. Again, it just feels different. And so that's fun. After you've watched, 5 of these, it's fun to kind of switch things up a little bit. So I love the opening here. I mean, obviously the number 2 is infamous as well with the movie theater sequence. That's amazing. But I don't know. For me, this one is just so, it goes back to play that it's very meta. And it works really well. So I really like the opening on this one. Like I said, probably my favorite of the sequels. But yeah, great franchise. I love Scream 6. I did check. I ended up giving it 4 stars last time. I think it holds up really, really well. Is it worth 4.5? Maybe, but I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. Again, that just feels right. So technically, does that mean I like Scream 5 better than Scream 6? Maybe a little bit, but I don't know. Not even that much, I guess. I don't know. So it's a great movie either way. So love Scream 6. Now I don't know what franchise we're going to move on to next, but I also watched Talk to Me earlier today. Great movie. 4.5 out of 5 stars. Check my 4K review for that. But yeah, so that's the Scream franchise. We watched all 6 films. So now I'm excited to move on to something different, maybe something I haven't seen, but I guess time will tell. So I totally forgot to check in last night, but I did do another movie yesterday. And this was one that I was planning on just purchasing, right? Because this is actually coming out at Walmart, or came out this weekend at Walmart in a exclusive Blu-ray Steelbook release. But I decided, what, instead of spending the $20 on it, I've not heard great things. It happens to be on Peacock, which is how I watched it. Let's give it a look, see if it's any good. If I give it 3 stars, 3.5 stars, maybe I will pick it up. You know what I mean? Just so I have it in the collection. Well, this is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And this one, like I said, haven't heard lots of good things. Frankly, I heard some negative things about this one, but I absolutely had to see it. So how I understand it is that that Winnie the Pooh is now in the public domain. So that means anyone can use the name, the characters, all of that in their works of art. And so that's what they did here. They're using Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Christopher Robin, things like that. And that's just a really cool idea. And so I was very curious what they were going to do with it because it's unique. Well, unfortunately, the problem with this one is that it just feels like a generic slasher film. So with this one, basically it opens up with this hand-drawn animation that sets up the whole story. And it tells the story about how Christopher Robin met these like half human, half beast creatures, essentially, and how he was so young and naive that he didn't realize that he should have been afraid of them. But he ends up, bringing them food every day, befriending them until he decides that it's, time to go to college. And so he ends up leaving them. Well, because Christopher Robin was the one who provided them food every day, now they don't know how to hunt or anything like that. So they have no way of getting food. So they're starving to death, and they make the decision to eat Eeyore. And so they do that. They eat Eeyore. And at that point is when they decide, you know what? We hate humans now. And they're going to form a pact to never speak again, which of course is going to help the movie, right? But that's what they decide. And so now they hate humans. We jump 5 years ahead, and then it becomes like real live action. That's the term I'm searching for. And Christopher Robin is trying to bring his fiance into the 100-acre woods in order to show her these creatures, because she obviously doesn't believe it. Well, that's when things turn sour. Winnie the Pooh is this evil creature now, and things kind of pick up from there. Again, my problem with this is like what it felt like is that the writer or the director, they had this cool generic slasher idea in their head. And then they realized, wait, we can get the Winnie the Pooh characters. Let's toss that in to make it feel a little bit more special, a little bit more unique. Frankly, to get more eyes on the product, right? I mean, it's getting a freaking Blu-ray Steelbook release from Walmart. Like, that's crazy. And so that worked. Good on them. But they use the names of the characters, but they don't do much more than that with it. They don't go into the lore of things at all. And frankly, there's only 3 characters from the Winnie the Pooh that are actually in here. You get Winnie the Pooh, you get Piglet, and then you have Christopher Robin. That's it. The whole movie, I just kept waiting for Tigger, this tiger, to show up and just start annihilating people. And it never happened. And so that was super disappointing. Again, the problem with the movie is it's too general, too generic. It really just felt like these were serial killers in a mask, right? Like any other slasher film that we've seen over the years. Except at the end, they didn't reveal the mask to reveal who the killer was. That was really the only difference. But still, for all intents and purposes, it feels the same. Now, that said, this isn't a bad film. Like, I love generic slasher films, right? That's not a problem. It's just not a great film. And the Winnie the Pooh idea doesn't really elevate the movie at all, which was disappointing. But some of the cinematography in this film, I think, looks phenomenal. They had really nice camera work in this. Some really cool shots with like smoke and fire, things like that. The lighting looked really cool at moments. So I feel like there are moments of really awesome artwork in this. On top of that, the gore effects in this look fantastic. Really great special effects work. It is genuinely gross at points. And so kudos to them. I thought they did an awesome job there. But I mean, that's why you're watching these anyway. There is a little bit of nudity, which after watching all these Scream movies, of course, you don't get that. So that was different through these 13 days of Halloween here. There is, this gorgeous girl taking like Instagram photos in the hot tub. So, I mean, there's a little bit of, sex appeal in this, which I haven't seen in the other films I've been watching so far this month. So that felt a little bit different, but still, like, otherwise, there's just not a whole heck of a lot going on. So not a bad movie, but not great either. Am I going to go pick up the Blu-ray Steelbook? Probably not. Like, I don't see the need to rewatch this one. I'll watch the sequels because they're supposed to do 2 more sequels to this. So, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Not a terrible film, but I really feel like there was some opportunity for them to do a lot more than they really did. So, check it out on Peacock before you run out and buy the Steelbook. But yeah, I'm not sure what I'm watching next. I just watched The Boogeyman, so I'll have a full Blu-ray review of that here on the channel as this is, that's already been posted because this will go out after that. But yeah, so not sure what else I'm watching today, but hopefully something to get closer to those 13 movies. All right, so it's a couple days later now, I think it is anyway, and I watched another one. So I just finished recording and editing my review of The Boogeyman, which now I got my glasses have a glare. So that was directed by Rob Savage, which I didn't even actually realize going into it. But Rob Savage directed Host, which I loved. That was a Shudder movie from like 2020 or 2021. And then he also did Dashcam, which was another one that looked really interesting that I wanted to check out. And Host was so creative and so unique and so original. I was surprised that Boogeyman was so kind of run-of-the-mill haunted house story, which check out my review here on the channel. That will be live, obviously, by the time this goes live. But I wanted to check out Dashcam to see if there was more creative energy with that one, if it was more akin to something like Host, or if it was more akin to something like Boogeyman. And it was absolutely more akin to Host. This is an extremely creative horror movie. Not at all what I was expecting. Frankly, wasn't really what I was hoping for today. Like it's more supernatural horror, which isn't what I was wanting. I was wanting something, I don't know, realistic, creepy. I was thinking it was going to be more like those Dashcam viral videos of creepy things happening. That's not at all what it is. It's very much a supernatural film. So very politicized. It takes place during like lockdowns, during the pandemic. And our main character, Anna Hardy, I think her name is. She's actually a musician, and that's her real name. Like, she's in a band by that name, but she does this thing called Bandcam, I believe it's called. And it's her driving around the city, like improvising live music to a live stream audience. And so she decides that she's very much a anti-vaxxer, thinks COVID is BS, and a Trump supporter, like has her MAGA hat and everything. Very much a stereotypical that. So take that for what you will. And the fake chat that they have, because there's always like a chat comments going on the side of the screen, which I thought was pretty interesting. It is just so realistic. I almost wonder if those were genuine, like if those were real chat comments taken from somewhere else, because it was so, it's just like jarring how realistic it all was. But that aside, she decides that she's going to leave America because it's locking her down, and she's going to go to the UK. Of course, the UK restrictions were arguably even more strict, but she doesn't realize this. So anyway, that doesn't matter anyway. She gets there. She literally breaks into her friend's house. Not breaks in. She knows where the key is. So she goes in to her friend's house that she was in a band with, 10 years prior, and slaps him awake. His girlfriend freaks out. Anyways, she's staying with them now. So it's the next day. And she's going into a restaurant. Her friend is working as an essential worker, basically like a Grubhub or DoorDash driver. And she refuses to wear a mask, as you do. And she ends up getting kicked out of this place. And so her boyfriend's mad at her. The girlfriend's mad at her. They want to kick her out. But before they're able to, she steals his car. And goes, decides that she's going to like take over his job because she's hungry. So she's already stole his car. Why not steal some of the food that he's supposed to be delivering too, right? Well, she gets there, the restaurant's closed, but then the lady's like, oh, you have a car. Can you deliver my friend somewhere for me? She doesn't want to do it when she sees her because she's clearly sick, but she gets offered this big lump sum of cash. And so she decides to do it. And that's when things go apeshit from there. Like, it is insane. Dashcam is genuinely the most chaotic movie I think I've ever seen. Like, it is nuts. It makes Blair Witch Project feel like it was filmed using a Steadicam. Like, it is absolutely insane. The camera shakes more than anything ever. So if you don't like that, you are not going to like this movie. It is so weird. Like, I hated the main character. She is just a extremely obnoxious, ignorant, rude, I don't even know, like just entitled person. She's awful. And so hopefully that's not how Anna Hardy actually is in real life. But I liked the friend that she was going to see, the former bandmate. They had really good chemistry together. He was quite funny. But the creative juices were going nuts in this one. Rob Savage is an exceptionally talented and unique creative director, which is why I'm so surprised that he created The Boogeyman, the 2023 version. Like, it's ho-hum compared to his other filmography. I wanted something more creative and more unique, which Host and Dashcam absolutely are. But still, I didn't love Dashcam. Like, I admire Dashcam more than I liked Dashcam. It is super admirable what he's able to do with this. Again, using like this COVID setting, the like cinematography on it is so weird and unique and chaotic. It is just the special effects are amazing in there. Like, they are excellent in this, much like they were with Host. So I don't know. It's just, there's so much like going on behind his brain, or in his brain, that I can't wait to see what else he does. Hopefully, he's able to do something maybe a little freer with his next major film. So again, like, I hated the characters in Dashcam, and it was absolutely chaotic. It was a bit fatiguing to watch because it was so chaotic, and it felt really long. I got to the hour mark and I hit like, where are we? Because I thought for sure it was done where it was going. Like, it felt like it could have ended at like 4 different times, and it just kept going, kind of like this review is probably feeling for you. But anyway, yeah, so I'll leave it there. I respect it. I admire it. Rob Savage is an amazing director who is capable of so much. So I hope next time we get something a little bit more than we did with The Boogeyman. But still, I didn't like this movie all that much. I didn't have a great time with it. It dragged. I hated the characters. There's just so many weird things. There was no explanation of anything that's going on. So it all is kind of nonsensical and just kind of events stacked up on one another to make a movie. But still, it's very admirable. So anyway, I'm going to go middle of the road with this. I'm going to give Dashcam from 2021, I think. I'm going to give that 2.5 out of 5 stars. So that said, let's move a little bit here. Excuse the lighting because I forgot to grab these. What I need to do now, there are 2 movies that I have been wanting to watch for the absolute longest time. So I'm finally going to do that. So let me get back here to some better lighting. So one of which is this one here, Hereditary. I've heard really good things about this, and I've always just wanted to see it. So that one is going to be one of the next 2 that I watch. But the next one I'm watching, a movie that it is Ken's favorite horror film ever, from Mid-Level Media, and I've never seen it. I've seen others say like it's the greatest horror film ever made. I have no idea. I don't even really know what it's about. I know it takes place like in, what is this, the 1600s? But that's literally all I know. The Witch. I am finally going to watch The Witch. It has been so long. I've owned this thing forever. I think I got this for like $5 at Walmart years and years ago, along with Hereditary. I think they're both A24, which is like whatever their sale was. Yeah, they are both A24. So I can't wait. Finally, I'm going to watch this one. I really, really wish I had this one on 4K, especially after watching The Boogeyman and me complaining about how like the picture detail was just missing compared to the 4K. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of dark sequences in this, but I'm going to watch it first. I bought this for $5. The 4K I checked is like $13 or $15 or something on Amazon right now. So if I love it, I will be upgrading. But if not, then, you know, hey, at least I didn't spend too much on the Blu-ray. So The Witch is coming up next. All right, so it wouldn't be a vlog without the customary I'm going to disc replay portion of the video. And so that's what we're going to be doing today, if I can fix this. At least I am. I don't know if I'm going to end up taking you guys along for the ride or not, but I'll show you what I got when I get home either way. So last time I was there, I picked up something. I can't remember what. It was pretty cool though. But then behind the counter, I saw a whole bunch of like complete TV series, you know, those big giant packs that were just sitting back there. And I asked him, like, are those getting ready to be put on the shelves, or what's the status with them? And he asked the boss, and they said, yeah, they're ready to go. There was one that caught my attention, Xena Warrior Princess. And I asked how much it was. I was hoping it was 15. Came back and it was 20. And so I decided to hold off on it because I just spent like $40 or whatever. So I was like, I don't need to get that right now. Well, now I think I want to go get it, if they still have it, which honestly, if they put it on the shelf, the chances of it still being there, very slim, very, very slim. But if they didn't put it on the shelf, then hopefully I can get them to sell it to me from behind the counter again. So we'll see. That's the goal, is to find Xena Warrior Princess. But I would love to see what else they had. I don't want to be that annoying person though that is like, hey, can you hand me all this giant stack of stuff while you're trying to help all these customers? So we'll see. Hopefully I'll get there before it gets too busy and I'm able to, see what they have, but we'll see. So that's the goal. So I just wanted to check in since I'm going to be heading over to Disc Replay, and it feels like that is a must for all of these vlogs. Frankly, I go there all the time. So if I'm vlogging, chances are I'm going to be, going there. But anyway, just wanted to check in. All right, so I'm back home now, and I know I am the worst vlogger in the world. I didn't show any footage or I didn't film any footage while I was at Disc Replay, but it is what it is. You guys don't care anyway. You just want to see what I got. So that's what I'm going to show you today. But first, an Amazon package came in. It was on my doorstep right before I left. So let's unbox this and see what it is. Actually, I'm pretty sure I know what it is. I'm very excited about it. Let's see. Here we go. Yes, exactly. Ghost Watch. So I talked about this in my anticipated releases video for the month of August. This is the standard edition release from 101 Films. I think it's called 101 Films. But yeah, there was the special edition release that came out, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and it sold out. And so I wasn't going to make that mistake again, so I pre-ordered this, and I'm very excited to talk about it. Honestly, I think I'm going to watch this next, and hopefully you'll see a review here on the channel, but that obviously will go up before this vlog will, so you'll know if I ended up doing that. But anyway, that said, a bag of stuff from Disc Replay, because of course I do. This was actually like one of the quickest Disc Replay trips I've had in a long time, because I walked in, my first stop is always the cart where they have like the new items that they're about to put out. Tons and tons of Blu-ray on it today, which was awesome. But they did have Xena, and so I picked it up. So this was actually still behind the counter, so I didn't have to worry about it. So $20 for this. Not bad at all. It's like more than double that on Amazon right now. And it is all like the separate releases, so not like that one big clamshell that you see a lot. 6 different seasons of Xena. I figured this would go along with my Hercules. Yeah, I have my Hercules over there that I found from Big Lots last year for super cheap. So really good deal on that. Happy to have this. Excited to watch this. I'm going to watch this in conjunction with Hercules. At least that's the idea. I used to watch Xena and Hercules a very little bit when I was younger. Don't remember much about them at all, but I figured since I have one, I might as well have the other. And again, for the price, $20, that's ridiculous. And then, which of course I'll show these again in a haul video, but I want to show these now because it's what I grabbed during this vlog. So they've been having buy 2 get 1 free for the longest time on Blu-rays. And like I said, the cart was filled with new Blu-rays. So of course I picked up some. So the first one here I grabbed is Crimson Tide. And you can see these are all $5.99 and then buy 2 get 1 free. So this is a movie that I added to my wish list because of John Moxley's autobiography. I think I talked about it before, but he listed a number of like movie recommendations in there. And this was one that I hadn't seen, so I had to add it to the list, and I'm excited to check it out. So this is Crimson Tide, of course, Denzel Washington, Gene Hackman, the submarine movie, so excited to see that. And then something a little bit different, Liar Liar. Turns out I don't own this one at all. Or I didn't own this one at all. Now, unfortunately, this is not the Shout Select release, but it'll do. I don't know if there are any special. Oh, there are deleted scenes, outtakes, and a commentary, plus bridging the comedy chasm. So we'll see. I love this movie. I mean, like, who doesn't? It's fantastic. So looking forward to revisiting that one. And then last but not least, this one still sealed, which is amazing. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I added this to my list a long time ago. Honestly, at this point, I can't even remember what it was that made me add it to the list, but it's like I found out what it was about, and so I really wanted to track it down and see it. I thought I owned it, and I feel like I may have at one point, but I didn't anymore, so I needed to get it. And the fact that I got it for brand new, for free, or whatever, 12 divided by, so like $4, that's a pretty darn good deal. So looking forward to checking that out. So again, buy 2, get 1 on Blu-rays, cool haul there, plus Xena Warrior Princess. That is a good day at Disc Replay. I was in there for like not even 10 minutes. That's efficient. That's what I like to see. So it's actually only a handful of hours later, but I did watch The Witch, and I'm very glad I finally watched this one. So this is from 2015, directed by Robert Eggers, who I didn't realize Eggers also directed The Lighthouse and The Northman, both movies that are on my watch list that I still have to see, but really want to check both of those out. Anyway, so this was, it should have been what I was expecting, I guess, but it kind of did it in what felt like a bit of a different way. This is a witch movie, exactly as you would expect by the movie. It takes place in like 1630. We start off with this family of 7, 5 kids, 2 adults. They get banished, and I don't really understand what was going on at the beginning there. There's they have an accent, plus they're using this like older English style of talking. And so I was missing some of the dialogue throughout this movie, but I don't think it really negatively impacted things at all. I can't really tell you why they got banished at the start of the movie. But anyway, they leave the village and they set up a homestead outside this forest, basically. And one day, our main character, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, who I think was excellent. She plays Thomasin. She's like playing peekaboo or whatever. Well, one time she does peekaboo and the baby's gone, and so the baby goes missing, and that kind of starts unraveling this whole family. The crops start dying, things like that. Of course, we know what's going on. It's a witch. But they are very devout Christians, very, very religious family. And so that, of course, is going to have an impact on how they handle these things and the way they choose to go about, this situation. And things go crazy, obviously, as the movie goes on. This film, I think, does an awesome job of building an atmosphere that's just like genuinely unsettling and creepy. Not a lot of jump scares. That's not really what this is about at all. There may be one or two, but not really. That's not what it's about, which, is going to appeal to a lot of people, especially, it's an A24 film. So I feel like that audience is looking for something more than just a cheap jump scare. Myself, I love cheap jump scares, but I also like this. And so while I didn't find this one maybe as scary as I hoped I did, I still enjoyed it. This is my second take talking, so I may have mentioned this, maybe not, but I did start watching this upstairs here in my normal viewing area. But even with the blinds closed, I thought, it's just a little too bright. And with everything I'd heard about the witch, I wanted to give it the best possible opportunity to scare me as best it could. And so I decided, let's go watch it downstairs, keep it as dark as I possibly can, and distraction free as possible. So that's what I ended up doing. And it really is an effective film. So this is actually in a 1.66 to 1 aspect ratio. So there were black bars on the left and the right of the screen where it filled like top to bottom. And so it's not full screen where it's like 1.33. We have thicker black bars. These are very thin black bars. And I think that was very intentional because the forest behind where these characters live is so important to everything that's going on. And so Eggers really emphasized how big and vast this forest was, and using this aspect ratio really helped add height to the film. And so I thought it was just really well done that way. I thought that was pretty cool. It gives the whole thing more of the forest more of an ominous feel. So definitely intentional and well done. On top of that, I think the acting in this is just excellent. You have Anya Taylor-Joy playing Thomasin. She's our main character. One of our main characters anyway. And then the father's played by Ralph Ineson, who is awesome as well. The mother is great. That is Kate Dickie. The kids do a nice job as well, but just overall, just a really strong cast. And so the acting really helped deliver, again, I think I've talked about this before, but just make it feel more authentic. And so when it feels more authentic, it just feels creepier with what they're going through. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of it as well. I mean, this is not going to go down as one of my favorite horror films of all time. Maybe one of the best horror films I've seen so far this year, but I liked it. I didn't love it as much as some others have, I don't think. But yeah, not much more to say about this one. I thought it was really well done. The tagline is very fitting. Evil takes many forms. I will definitely watch this one again. I want to watch the special features on here to see some of the behind the scenes as well. But yeah, this is a good movie. This is a really good movie. So I am going to give The Witch from 2015 4 out of 5 stars. So good on it. That said, I'm actually filming on Friday the 13th. And so I forgot about that earlier. I want to watch, I think, the remake today, the 2009 Friday the 13th, because I've not seen that in so long. And this is not going to be a popular opinion, but it's one of my favorites in the Friday the 13th series or franchise. And so I think I'm going to watch that one because I don't have a ton of time left today. I think I'm just going to stick with the 09 version. And then over the weekend, if I can kind of work my way backwards, I might at least watch Freddy versus Jason. But yeah, anyway, that is it for now. So let's see what we're going to watch next. All right, so just to stick with some terrible lighting, I guess I'll film here, but technically now, unfortunately, if you can see that, it is October 14th now, so no longer Friday the 13th because it is midnight, but that's okay. I did watch Friday the 13th, 2009 right here yesterday now, earlier tonight, and so this is my third movie of Friday the 13th, which makes me very happy. I was able to watch 3 horror films today, but Yeah, so this is the 2009 remake. I opened up my box set for the first time. So that was fun. My Scream Factory box set that I got last year, I guess. I got it about a year after everybody else did. So anyway, this one, I always said was like one of my favorites I think it was my favorite in the Friday the 13th film franchise. And honestly, I think I liked it less this time through. I still like this movie, but I found the characters much more annoying this time through, less funny. I remember just laughing a ton when I watched this in theaters back in 2009. And I've seen this multiple times since then, and I've always laughed a lot more than I did today. I don't know. I just found them a lot more annoying this time through. Maybe it's just because I'm older. Who knows? But that said, outside of the kind of annoying characters, I do like the kills. There are a ton of small homages to the original films, like, everything leading up to this basically. And I've always loved how you don't get the opening title sequence until the 23rd minute of this movie. And so you're following a group of people and then you get a title sequence and then the movie changes to something else, basically. Not entirely, but sort of. And so I've always loved that about it. I remember the first time I saw that, I was just so taken aback by the fact that we were now following, different people. I just loved that. I thought that was so cool. The kills in this one, I think, are well done. They are a lot more in your face than, what we would have previously gotten with this franchise. And so I really like that. There are a lot of moments with the characters that I just don't necessarily understand why they're doing what they're doing or things like that. And so it's a fine film. I like the effects on it, I think, are well done. Yeah, tons of nudity in this one. So if you're, a fan of that, you're going to love this. And then, yeah, you just get nudity, you get blood, you get gore, you get Jason. I love Jason in this. This is a meaner, more intelligent Jason, I feel like, than we really get in the past. And so I really like that about it. It's a more territorial Jason they talk about in some of the special features. So that's really cool. But anyway, yeah, so I like this movie, but not as much as I did in the past. So I'm going to give Friday the 13th from 2009. I will give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think previously I've given it 4, even 4.5 at points. So I'll go 3.5 this time. And I'm tired. I watched a lot of movies today. Watched some football. Actually watching the Colorado game right now. It's at halftime and my battery's about to die. So I guess I'll leave it there. All right, so I feel like I just watched what is likely my favorite horror movie of 2023, Cobweb. This was so much better than I expected. So I had this, I think, in my anticipated releases video, but I didn't buy it right away just because I wasn't really sure about it. I hadn't heard anything about it before I talked about it in that video, but since its release, a number of people have talked about this one. Some of them have been very mediocre on it when you look at Letterboxd, but I was watching one video, I forget who it was now, but I was watching one video and they said it was their favorite release of the year, the favorite horror release of the year. And so I decided to pick it up. I think it dropped in price a little bit on Amazon. And so I grabbed it and I decided to watch it kind of on a whim. And it was so much better than I really expected it to be. It is a weird movie that you want to know as little about it going into it as you can, because it's one of those films that it just keeps unraveling new and different things, which makes it feel it just felt so unique. It's so interesting. I loved this. So we are following this family here. They are the 3 people on the back. You have the mother, the father, and the little boy. Lizzie Kaplan plays the mom. And frankly, she plays it in such an affected way. And it's so weird. I didn't like it at first, but then I realized as the movie went on, what's going on here. And so it made a little bit more sense. And because she's a great actress. And so I was so taken aback by it to start. But we're following this family. The little boy is bullied at school, which is going to play a part in kind of his mental health, and how the decisions that he makes throughout the film and things like that. And in the middle of the night, he keeps getting woken up because he's hearing a tapping on the wall. And he's trying to figure out what it is. And of course, something is going on. But I want to leave it there. I want to keep it as vague as I possibly can. The title, of course, has something to do with what's going on. So, do with that what you will. But it felt so fresh and unique and so genuinely creepy. There were points where I had my hand up at my mouth, with my mouth agape. I held my breath. I was so tense. It was crazy. There are just moments where it really, man, was it effective. I thought this was probably the scariest film I've seen this year. Scary in terms of like, not even jump scares. Maybe it jump scares also, but really it's just the atmosphere. First off, the house that they live in is this like old, decrepit looking house on the outside. The backyard is just filled with pumpkins. It is a perfect Halloween movie. So if you're looking for a Halloween film, this fits the bill. It takes place during Halloween time. It feels very fall, autumnal, and very Halloweeny just because of all the like pumpkins in the backyard. It is so interesting where they go with this. It reminded me, it's kind of a weird comparison, but it reminded me a little bit of Coraline. If you've ever seen or read Coraline, just with what's going on. And I think that's so interesting that a live action horror film gives me those vibes, but it really did. Like the places this thing goes are insane. I've heard some complain that it's a little slow at the beginning. I totally disagree. I was totally engrossed with this from the start. I was invested in these characters because it doesn't take long for there to be kind of the cracks start to show, I guess I'll say. It doesn't take long for that to happen at all. And so because of that, I was just so hooked. I'm like, where the heck is this thing going? What is it doing? And then as like things unravel, you're like, oh no, it did this. And then it's, oh, is this the right thing? And it's like, oh my gosh, it just kept going. And the third act, oh my God, it is absolutely insane. I loved this. I know I like this better than Talk to Me. This is the top of the horror game for me in 2023, so far at least. I haven't seen like Evil Dead Rise, for example. There's a couple others I'm sure I've missed. I did go see Nun 2 in theaters recently with my buddy, and that was fine. I liked that. I think I liked it better than the first one, but I'd have to watch them both again to really tell you. But I really liked that one too. But yeah, that one's kind of in middle of the list at this point. But Cobweb, oh my gosh, if you haven't seen this, I absolutely recommend it. Like I said, according to Letterboxd, it is kind of mixed for most people, but man, if you share the same sensibilities as I do, you'll probably get a kick out of this. Hopefully I'll have the digital code in here somewhere for you guys to find and redeem, because at least one of you needs to see this movie. Like, it is so good. I was so happy I watched it. So yeah, Cobweb is at the top of the list now for me. I loved this. I am going to give Cobweb from 2023 4.5 out of 5 stars. An awesome, awesome, scary movie. Like, oh, it just ticked all the right boxes for me. So loved this. So that's movie 12. I only have one more to talk about. And I know my vlogs are the absolute worst. They're not vlogs. It's just lazy reviews. That's what I should call this. It's just like lazy reviews. So one more to go. And I guess it's going to be Hereditary. I do need to watch some other things. Like I have one of the, so I posted this video a while ago now, where if you predict, the person who most accurately predicts my star rating on 10 different films is going to win an Amazon gift card. I'm only about 4 movies into that because I've been really behind on it. But one of them is a horror film. So I'm going to watch that, I think, in the next couple of days here. I'm going to count that as the 31. I can't post it, though, in case anyone enters late. But enter that contest if you haven't already, because I'm sure it won't be done by the time this video goes live. But yeah, I'm going to watch, I think it's a found footage film in there, an Asian found footage film. I don't know if it's Japanese or Korean, but it looks really cool. So excited to check that one out. But yeah, Cobweb, long story short, watch this movie. You might not love it as much as I did, but hopefully you'll enjoy some aspects of it because I thought it was excellent. I loved it so much. So yeah, I guess Hereditary is next. So I guess we'll watch that one today. All right, so we are back in my normal filming location, a little bit different setup, but still my normal spot. So I figured I would finish up the last of the 13 films here and the whole vlog here. So I don't know about you guys, but when you have a collection of my size, like I'm pretty much consistently adding and purging movies. That's just the way it goes. You get to a point where it's so big, you have to start getting rid of things, or you just decide, you know what? I don't need this. I am never going to watch this. So why do I need it in my collection? And so I've been doing that a lot lately, specifically. I think I talked about this earlier. Like I have boxes and boxes of stuff over there to get rid of. But I actually went through a bunch of my binders because at one point in my collecting phase, I'd put a bunch of movies into binders and I was deciding to go that route. And so I actually ended up pulling some of them out of the binders to put on the shelves. Why, I don't know. But there were a handful in particular these four in particular that I wasn't sure if I needed them or not. So I figured, you know what? Put them in. If they look interesting, hold on to them. If they don't, just get rid of them. And so that's what I ended up doing. But I actually ended up watching 50% of these four. So I watched 2 of these. I'm going to talk about all 4 of these, but I'm not reviewing the 2 I didn't watch, but just talk about why I didn't finish them. But I'll mention now, Heredity is not going to be movie number 13. I actually switched it up, which I'll talk about that in just a minute. But anyway, let's go through these. So the 2 I didn't watch. So first up, these are all, I think, well, Bloodlands might be Big Lots, but I think these are all Dollar Tree. Actually, Autumn, this was one I've had for the absolute longest time. I got this one from Walmart back when they were selling like $5 DVDs like on the regular. And I was doing Walmart like back in like 2009, 2010, 2011, how people were doing Dollar Tree over the past few years, or longer than few years. But anyway, Autumn. This is actually based on a book called Autumn, written by David Moody. And I'd started reading that book, but I never finished it. And so that's why I ended up holding on to this. So I wanted to finish the book and then watch the movie. Terrible. Absolutely dreadful. I got maybe 5-10 minutes in and I was so bored. I said, you know what? Forget it. I'm done. This one is out of the collection. Super low budget zombie film, but utterly boring for the first 5 minutes. And that was enough. I don't need to see any more. The other one I didn't finish was Future World. Now, the cast on this thing is ridiculous because you have James Franco, who directed, and then Mila Jovovich and Lucy Liu in this as well. And I started the DVD and like, it's supposed to be a 5.1 audio track, but the dialogue was so ridiculously quiet that I couldn't hear. I had my sound system cranked up, and it's the same one I watched all these other movies on. No issues. But this one, the DVD is just like messed up or something. So this one I'm getting rid of. I did check on Tubi, because it's on Tubi if you want to watch it. And the sound was totally normal and fine there. So I have no idea what's wrong with the DVD. So just a weird sound mess up on the DVD. But yeah, just another super low budget Mad Max style film. Didn't catch my attention, so I didn't end up finishing it. Yeah, there's a naked robot butt in like the first 5 minutes. So if that's your thing, there you go. But the 2 I watched were these 2 here. ScareBNB, 100% a Dollar Tree find. I watched this one second, but I'll start with this one. Basically, this is about this girl who is coming back in town because she has a stalker in, I think, Italy is where she lives. It was her old teacher. And so she ends up coming back to Toronto and trying to stay with her brother. Her brother says there's no room. She gets an Airbnb, and it is like, whatever, there's cameras all over the place. And so they're filming her, and then bad things happen and it goes from there. This isn't what I was expecting. The first half is about that story, and then the second half is the brother trying to like track people down. And it's not great. I mean, like the opening lines of dialogue are from a Donald Trump interview, like press conference thing. So, I mean, that kind of tells you what you're getting here. Yeah, it kind of plays on all the headline tropes and just the fears that are so utterly ridiculous, but I'm sure it happens, you know, every once in a while. But yeah, that's what it's playing on. Not a good movie. Well acted for the most part, but just kind of lost me as the movie went on. I gave this one 2 out of 5 stars. I think maybe 1.5 out of, I think 1.5 out of 5 stars, something like that. But yeah, didn't enjoy that one. So that one is leaving the collection. Don't recommend wasting your time with it. And then the other one, which was actually decent for what it was. This is the Bloodlands. So this one is called White Settlers, I believe, is the name of this one on IMDb. ScareBNB also has a different name. It's like Creep Nation, I believe, from 2019. And my daughter drops movies over here. But yeah, so this was a home invasion thriller, kind of something in the vein of like Straw Dogs. Our main couple ends up, I guess they're like Londoners, I think. They're big city folk, right? So they go into this Scottish countryside. They find this big farm, like an acre and a half. And they decide to buy it because they want to get out of the city. Well, the people who, well, is that a spoiler? I mean, it's literally said in the first 10 minutes, like what's happening. And so it's so ridiculous. But yeah, people come the first night that they're there, their power is out because they did something to mess up their power. And they are trying to catch these guys. And so decent for what it is. There's like no character development in this at all. Like with Straw Dogs, for example, you get quite a bit, like maybe the first half hour is kind of the setup to that finale. This is just the finale. Like it's the entire movie. And so it does get a little bit long. It didn't feel like terribly paced or anything. I actually put this on at like 1 a.m. planning to just like watch the first 5 minutes, and then I was interested, and so I ended up watching until like 2:30. But yeah, so I mean, it was good enough for that. But the end of it is just so like weird and ridiculous, and there's no explanation at all really what's going on or why. I get, again, within like the first 10 minutes, they kind of talk about like what's gonna happen, I guess, which is weird. But yeah, I don't know. Not great. Not something like worth tracking down. If you find it at the Dollar Tree and you love home invasion thrillers like I do, it's not terrible. I think I gave this one 2 stars. I really should have double checked before I started filming, but yeah, I think this one was 2 stars. Not great. Well acted. It does have Pollyanna McIntosh from The Woman, Lucy McKee's Woman, and so, or Lucky McKee's Woman rather, not Lucy. But yeah, so she's pretty good in this for what it is. But yeah, not great, decent, not a ton of gore, anything. It's just kind of there, not anything worth seeking out. But yeah, the Bloodlands. So with that said, the 13th movie I decided to talk about, because I put on Future World and the audio was messed up, I decided let's check what else is on Tubi. And instead of watching Future World, I decided to watch Peeping Tom for the first time. This is from 1960, directed by Michael Powell, who did The Red Shoes, is what I've known him best for. I've not seen that, but that's a movie I've heard about so many times over the years. And so I ended up watching this one on Tubi. And this is a movie that I've been meaning to watch forever, because this is kind of the grandfather of the slasher film. A lot of people talk about like Psycho, but this even predates that. And really, if you watch Peeping Tom, that really feels more like something like Halloween or something along those lines, like a prototypical slasher, than anything that Psycho does. But this movie is just, it's awesome. This was such a good film. We're following our main character. He is our serial killer, and there is this sexual lust that he has with his camera. And so he ends up filming women that he's killing. Mostly, I think the first one's a prostitute, for example. And then he ends up meeting a woman that lives in the building that he lives in, that he owns. And a relationship starts developing. And so trying to hide, what he does with his cameras and with his murders from the lady that he's starting to see. But the way this is done, like, this reminded me so much. Let me grab it. Maniac, the William Lustig film. This, obviously, William Lustig must have been a huge fan of Peeping Tom, because it really feels like Maniac just kind of lifted many ideas and themes and scenes even from Peeping Tom. And I loved that. It was so cool to go in and kind of see some of the origins of the slasher film. It's, from what I understand about it, it's one of the first horror films to really put the viewer in the perspective of the killer. And you get that right with the opening of Halloween as well, right? Like, it's just the trope now that you get with slasher films really started with Peeping Tom. So this is kind of the blueprint that some of our favorite slasher films use. So if you've not seen this one, if you're like me and just have been waiting, don't wait anymore. This is such a good movie. It's like required viewing for horror fans, in my opinion. I'm so disappointed it took me this long to watch it, but I'm so glad I did. The transfer on this, on Tubi, looks incredible. I just was looking up, and Peeping Tom is getting a 4K release in the UK in January of 2024. So I would love, because you can actually get the DVD of Peeping Tom from Criterion Collection. But I believe it's out of print, 1, and 2, it's DVD. And I've heard the transfer on the DVD is not very good at all. And so I'm really hoping, like, I would love for Criterion to get to do a 4K release of Peeping Tom. I think it would look amazing with Dolby Vision and HDR, because that's what this movie does so well, is the color. Just like, Michael Powell is an incredible director. This, I think, is the first and only film I've seen from him, but it's very obvious. It takes the horror film, but kind of puts it up a notch, because you're dealing with a director who is so capable in his craft. And the color usage in this is amazing. The use of the camera, I think, is so interesting and cool. The characters as you're learning them. And it is such a well done film. Like, I cannot recommend it enough. I absolutely need to see The Red Shoes now. I own that one on Criterion. That does have a 4K Criterion release. I own the Blu-ray of it. That's one of those films where I've heard that you can take any still shot from that film and frame it because it looks amazing. I can see kind of where that comes in with Peeping Tom, and that's just Michael Powell. Such a good movie. If you are a horror fan and you want to kind of see back to its roots, this is where things begin. And I see now so much of the slasher films that I've loved since then. I see the DNA within Peeping Tom. So glad I watched this one. Like I said, it is on Tubi. Such a good service if you haven't used it. So highly recommend Peeping Tom from 1960. Just a great film. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I think on a repeat viewing, I'll probably even give it a higher rating, but just a great movie. So highly recommend it. I feel like I should have taken notes while I was watching because I feel like there's so much I'm not saying about it. But yeah, Peeping Tom was excellent. I loved it. So highly recommend. And that is 13 plus, if you talk about any of these other films here, 13 plus horror films that I've watched in the month of October. So I guess that's going to conclude this vlog. Like I said, not much of a real vlog, just kind of lazy reviews, but hopefully some of you will get to the end of this. My vlogs always get the lowest amount of views anyway, like my reviews. So hopefully 1 or 2 of you enjoyed this and then it's worthwhile. But I'm still going. I'm actually I need maybe 9 or 10 more horror films to watch this month in order to reach 31 as of filming. And so, yeah, very excited. I think I'm actually going to do it, which is pretty shocking for me because I've watched maybe 60 films all year coming into this. It's super low this year. So yeah, very happy I was able to get through so many so far. But anyway, guys, I want to hear from you down in the comments below. Have you watched any of the movies that I've talked about during this vlog? If so, let me know what your thoughts were on them. Are you as big a fan of Peeping Tom as I am? Because I think that was just so good. Kind of just one of those revelatory experiences where you watch it and you're like, oh, well, that's where they get this from, and that's where they get that from. But yeah, awesome. So let me know what you think about that and anything else down in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, but that'll do it. So if you did enjoy it, go ahead and hit that like button down below. That engagement really does help me out. And like I always say, I don't just talk movies, I talk all things media, books, movies, video games, graphic novels. If it's media related, I'm interested in it. And if you are too, you might consider subscribing. I do have an I Watch 3 vlog that I actually started while doing this vlog. So look for that in the month of November. I talk 3 Criterion horror films, so that one should be a lot of fun as well. And it's going to be a lot shorter because there's only 3 movies, not 13. But anyway, thank you guys for making it all the way to the end here. I really do appreciate that. And before you go, I just want to encourage you all to consume some media today. I'll catch you next time.